Hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful December. The next few videos for me are probably going to be taken at home. I think right now it's a very smart idea not to go out traveling even though it's the holidays. Just because of the world situation right now, I think it's just better for me personally to stay at home. So look forward to some at-home videos. Today I wanted to talk about 5 things that I feel like I have changed about myself, or that maybe Japan has changed about me since moving to Japan. And these 5 things maybe aren't all exclusively because of living in Japan, but some of them might have to do with just growing up. I moved to Japan when I was 24 and now I'm 27, so you know, a lot of these might have to do with that. But when I made the list, I realized that Japan does have a small part in each of these. So yeah, let's take a look about what has changed about me. I'm an American citizen who moved to Japan 3 years ago now. So the very first thing is that I am less picky than I used to be about food. I am still a very, very picky person when it comes to food, but since moving to Japan, I have been a little bit more open-minded about things that I eat. Like before, I really did not care for fish of any kind. I would eat shrimp, but I just didn't like any kind of other seafood really other than shrimp. But since moving to Japan, you know, I've tried more things. I've tried oysters, just all these different kinds of fish that I couldn't even name you. I think a lot of it has to do with when I worked at a school last year. A lot of the school meals were seafood. And the thing about living in Japan, and if you come here to teach, you will most likely be eating the school lunch and you'll be eating with the students, and you're gonna want to set a good example to your students by eating everything that is given to you. But that was never really that difficult for me. I thought going into it like, oh man, like I don't like certain kinds of fish, maybe I just don't like this certain kind of vegetable. Originally I was never a big tofu fan, but now I eat tofu quite a bit. I don't even mind going out to a restaurant and specifically getting fish now, which that would have never been the case. I think when I first moved to Japan, I was really sticking with a lot of chicken. Sorry if you're vegetarian and maybe you're like really sensitive to what kinds of meats people eat. So if that is you, maybe skip ahead a few seconds. But since moving to Japan, I've had lamb meat, horse meat, oysters, a lot of just different things that I never would have tried before. I still don't like natto though. I know that's like the foreigner stereotype, but look, I do not like it. The second thing on the list that I feel like has changed about me is I want to spend more time outside than I ever have in my life. When I grew up, like I was always wanting to be on the computer and being indoors. I did play outside as a kid, but like not as much as I feel like maybe other kids did. I'm a ginger, so I just didn't want to be out in the sun. I hate sweating, I hate bugs. So my comfort zone is like being indoors. Now, since moving to Japan, that has actually changed. Like I actually actively love going outside and taking walks. I love taking bike rides. Before moving to Japan, going to something like a nature park would not have appealed to me at all, but for some reason here I really enjoy them. I mean, the summer here is absolutely brutal. The humidity is crazy, but I still enjoy, even in the summer, going and spending some time outside. Recently I've gone hiking, and I've done that a few times in Japan, and I've had a really fun time, which that would not be something that I would choose to do in the United States for some reason. I think if I were to go back to the United States, I would definitely try to be more active and be outside more, because I have reaped the health benefits of going outside and moving. Maybe part of it is that the public transportation here is better than in America where I live, and like there's sidewalks and stuff, so if I want to go to the park, it's not a problem at all, whereas in America I'd have to like get in my car and drive like quite a bit just to get to a nice park. So yeah, I definitely love spending time outdoors. Like I actually do want to go camping sometime in Japan, and I want to hike more, and that is just something that I never really appealed to me when I lived in the States. Number 3 is the way that I dress now. You probably can't really tell in videos at all, but like when I lived in the United States, and everyone has done this, when you go on like a late night trip to Walmart, you'll see people just in their pajamas, and guilty as charged, I've been to Target and to Walmart in just my pajamas. That is definitely not as common here. I've definitely seen dudes walk into convenies and like PlayStation pajama pants before here, but like probably 3 times in my whole 3 years in Japan. Whereas like in America, you go to Walmart and people look like they just rolled out of bed. In Japan, that's not as the case, especially for women. Like especially if you live in a bigger city, actually, like in Tokyo, it's like a lot of women don't leave the house without makeup done or without their hair done. Or a lot of the ways that women and men dress in Japan is just very sophisticated. And like I live a little bit more inaka, which is like countryside. I live a little more countryside than places like Tokyo and Osaka. So people do dress a lot more casually here, but you don't really see people as much wearing their gym clothes out. Like, oh man, I just went to the gym, I still have my gym clothes. Like people tend to not do that as much. I'm not saying I've never seen it, but it's just compared to America, America's style of fashion is a lot more casual. So the way this relates to me is that like when I go out to the grocery store, like I'll specifically like I'll wear jeans or I'll wear like leggings with a shirt or something. I don't really go out in like my workout shorts or a tank top or something like that. I try not to be as much of a bum, even though I love bumming, let me tell you. Especially when I go to Tokyo. Like, I think the most dressed down I would go to Tokyo in is maybe wearing like my Adidas athletic pants, which look really nice, and then like maybe like a matching Adidas shirt. But I don't know, I would never really go to Tokyo specifically in just like sweatpants and a ratty shirt. Whereas like in America, I was like, oh, I'm going to DC, I'm going to New York. I just, wear whatever. Of course, you should wear whatever you feel comfortable in, but that is something personally I wanted to change about me. I was very much a jeans and like anime t-shirt in the US. And, I still love bumming, but I love to wear a lot more skirts now. There are a lot of fashion changes that I've made. Maybe I'll just put up some like photos of like what I would wear in the US versus like what I tend to wear now in Japan. Number 4 is a little hard to explain. I guess I can list it as like how more aware I am about my health. So when I lived in America, I was still very much considered a germaphobe. I always had Germ-X on me. I would use tissues to like open up doors because doorknobs are really nasty to me. Japan even took this a few steps further for me. I never really thought about until I moved here why Japanese people take their shoes off before entering homes, or even I've seen people take their shoes off at like community centers and stuff like that. I mean, think about it this way, like you use your shoes to walk into public restrooms all the time that have like who knows what on the floor, and then you're using those same shoes to walk into your house, walk all over your carpet, and then eventually maybe you'll take off your shoes, and then like maybe you'll sit in the floor, you'll play with your dog on the floor, stuff like that. And even if you're not sitting in the floor, if you're taking your shoes off and then you have like socks on, like you're still transferring germs from your shoes to your socks, and then just taking it all over the house, in bed with you, if you put your feet on the couch. Maybe that's too much for some people. Maybe people don't care, and maybe I'm just insane. But that's really gross to me, so I feel like if I moved back to the US, I would definitely not let people into my house without them taking their shoes off. Another thing is masks in Japan. Now, I know that due to 2020, more and more Americans are wearing masks, even though it should be more than what I've been seeing. A lot more Americans are wearing masks, but before 2020, that wasn't the case. Like, you would just never go out and see people in masks. It just was not really a thing. In Japan, it's the complete opposite. Especially during the winter, you'll see just a good percentage of people, even before 2020, who would wear masks. In fact, when I taught, my students would show up to school in masks. I kind of adopted this even before this year. Like, I would start wearing a mask if I had a cold or something. It was just, in Japan, it's just the considerate thing to do is to wear a mask. So just small things like that I've now adopted in my life to make sure that like I'm as healthy as I can be. Number 5 is probably the most important one on this list, and the one that I think has affected me the most. Number 5 is I'm no longer afraid to spend time with myself, and I actually enjoy spending time alone with myself. And what I mean by this is, in America, it's a bit strange to go to a sit-down restaurant by yourself. Like, you're not just gonna walk into Olive Garden or Applebee's and just sit by yourself. I mean, some people probably do, but that is generally, people think that's a little weird. Like, if you're gonna go to a sit-down place, you're gonna go with friends and you're gonna socialize. In Japan, it was always really cool to be able to go to any restaurant I want and see other people sitting alone by themselves without anyone, because I don't really have a problem with spending time, like, by myself. Some people think it's weird to go to the movie theater all alone. I did that once in America, and I actually really enjoyed it, honestly. I liked being by myself. And now in Japan, like, I go see movies by myself all the time, and I see other people seeing movies by themselves all the time. And like, going back to the restaurant thing, like, there are booths and seats that are specifically made for people who are dining alone, and I love that. Actually, if you ever go to, I think it's Shinjuku Station has a Burger King, and they have some booths that's only like one seat, like one actual booth. Like, there's nothing else on the other side. It's literally for single diners. So I love that I don't feel weird just being alone, you know? And that also ties into, like, traveling alone is really fun for me. Not that I don't like spending time with other people or being in a group, but I've really learned to enjoy my own company. And that is something that I can't say that I was, like, super fond of in the US. Like, I feel like, oh, if I go to a movie or if I go to a concert, I gotta ask someone to go with me. And, you know, that can also tie into safety, I guess. Like, you wanna make sure you're, like, really safe in America, and going in groups is pretty safe. In Japan, though, I've been really safe going to concerts alone, you know, movies and everything. Traveling just in general alone has been really good for me. So I kind of have one more, kind of as an honorable mention, I guess you could say, and that is just, like, the fear of growing up is not that much of a problem for me anymore. Like, in America, it just seems like everyone's getting married really young and settling down and having kids really young, but in Japan, the average age for a woman to get married is like 30, and I think to start having kids, it's like 32. Like, of the friends that I have here who are Japanese, like, they're 33 to 35, and they maybe just got married, or maybe they're just now starting to think about having kids. And a lot of people who I meet at conventions and concerts, and, like, they're still, like, living their lives, are my age or older. I don't really need to maybe grow up so fast. Like, I can still enjoy a lot of the things that I enjoyed when I was a teenager and in my early 20s. A lot of the people that I've talked to in fandom in Japan, like, whether if I meet them at an anime shop or meet them at a convention here, they're like my age or older, and that feels really good. I guess it's not as much of a change, it's more of just, like, a realization that I don't know, that I don't have to be pressured into doing what I thought you were supposed to do at a certain age. So I don't know, we'll just add that one in. And there you have it, guys. Those are my 5, maybe 6 things if you count the last one, things that I've changed about myself. And again, maybe not all of these are directly related to living in Japan, but I do think that living in Japan you know, has a small effect on each one of these things. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to push like if you have not subscribed yet. There will be more videos to come in December, so please subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit that bell, because when you hit the bell, you'll get a notification that I've put up a video. Guys, have a great rest of your December. Please stay safe, and I will play with you some other time. Bye!